And we are live. It's a Sunday morning, and I just decided I was in the mood to do a live stream and just go ahead and go for it. And I'm hoping to do a few more of these kind of more impromptu live streams until the end of the year, just to experiment with them each week, to connect with you guys, answer your questions, and just be a little bit more impromptu about a little bit of what I do here on the channel. First person in the chat is Cosmetics. Says, hello, Sean. Hello to you as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, there, everybody just showed up all of a sudden. The way my little app works to let me see the comments out of the blue, like 50 comments just appeared. So I can't say hi to everybody, but hello, AJ. Oh, hello, Mom and Dad. That's a fun one. And Dominican Scott, hello to all of you. And let's go ahead and get started answering some questions as they come. Trying to find one. How am I doing today? I am doing good. I'm talking to you wonderful people right now. Miss Sugar, do you think Tassim, the Amazing Spider-Man movies get too much hate? So, I mean, I've done 1,000 videos on Spider-Man movies, rankings, final battles, actors, all of that fun stuff. So my thoughts in that regard are out there. So to that point, I think the first one gets too much hate because I think it's perfectly fine. It's not great, but it's fine. It's good. It's well done with solid acting, a little bit derivative in the plot, tones maybe not what it should be, but it's fine. I don't think it does any big embarrassing mistakes. The second one I think gets pretty embarrassing. It's tonally uneven. There's too much going on. There's just a lot of issues with it. So I do think the second one deserves the hate that it gets. I think it should get some praise too, but I think the hate feels worthy to me. Alex G, have you watched Breaking Bad? I have a Breaking Bad ranking. I have a Breaking Bad ranking. You can go check that out. Shank, continue producing great content, Sean. Wish you the best. Thanks so much, man. And I'll actually be talking with him later today. Him and I, Shashank, have a scheduled video chat for later today. So talk to you soon. Actually, once this is over, the reason this is 30 minutes is because I was going to message you about our chat. What do you think of the new Animaniacs? I haven't seen it yet. I probably should check it out with my kids, see if they like it, but it just hasn't happened yet. Have you seen DC Stargirl? I haven't. Most of the TV shows that I have seen I cover on my channel because I'm just so busy watching movies. Like right now I'm trying to watch through all the DreamWorks movies, and it's taken me 6 months because there's 40 of them. And so it just takes a long time to watch through certain things to do to get where everything needs to go. J. Paul, do you think Ahsoka will die in Mando Season 2? I don't. I've seen these rumors. So the basis of the rumor is that you can hear Ahsoka Tano's voice in the end of Rise of Skywalker, and the only characters you hear are dead characters. Those are the voices she hears in her head are dead people. It's like a horror movie. So he hears Ahsoka Tano's, therefore the theory is that she's going to die. I don't buy into it. I don't think it's going to happen, simply because why would you introduce this fan favorite? Why would you finally introduce them only to have her show up in a few episodes? And there's no reason that she has to die this season versus next season and next season. And people are like, well, if she's there, it would make sense that she would watch watch Baby Yoda instead of Mando. Like, I don't know how that makes sense. There's other Jedi out there. There's other people out there. And just because she has Force skills and he has a Force-using little baby that's 50 years old, that doesn't necessarily mean that she would watch him. So the argument doesn't seem to follow through to me. The logic doesn't, like, why would it happen now as opposed to later? And why would you introduce this character live action finally just to kill her off immediately? I don't buy it. Doesn't make any sense to me. Nikki P, have you seen Queen's Gambit? We're about halfway through. We we're watching 1-2 episodes per night for a couple days there, and then I'm legitimately doing my best to get to all these DreamWorks movies, and it's just kind of thrown me all off on trying to finish it, but it's very much on my mind. I haven't seen Mank yet, or did you see Mank of David Fincher's? I haven't seen it yet. I'll see it whenever it drops on Netflix. I don't think I'm going to try and get early access or see it in a theater or anything like that. So, Yeah. Michael, who inspired you the most, Jeremy Jahand or Stokeman? Both of those names are mispronounced. Stuckman with a U. I wouldn't say one over the other. I honestly wouldn't. I would say John Campea probably inspired me more than both of them. But all three of those people would be the ones that I've watched hours and hours and hours and hours of their content. And in different ways, I found something to pull from what they did. The one that probably the most inspired me to get started would be John Campea. So, but I wouldn't say over Stuckman and John's one more than the other. I wouldn't say that. Striped Crystals, what do you think the future of the MCU will be without Chadwick Boseman? I mean, if you think about it, Chadwick Boseman has only been in... He started in one movie, very prominent in Civil War. He's not a big part of actually Infinity War or Endgame. I mean, Infinity War, obviously they go to Wakanda, so there's a plot line to where he's a very important part too. But other characters take more front and center. Like, he doesn't have a bunch of big flashy scenes in that movie. Wakanda's more than big major part. So what will the MCU be without him? Like, I don't know that the MCU in that as a whole is dramatically changed by it, because he wasn't really a Tony Stark yet. He wasn't a Captain America that like he tied the whole thing together. He had a great movie. He had some great scenes and parts and things like that. So I don't know that I think it'll be... I don't know what that hole is that needs to be filled. I think it's more the potential of what he could have been was planned to be in the next phase. I think that's a little bit more where you catch some of this. Okay. The super chat come in from Brevins Flicks and Games. Thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984 still being released on Christmas? Anticipation of Cobra Kai 3. What's your top 5? And my top one is... Okay, so we got 3 questions in there. All right. I appreciate the super chat. Let me do my best to cover these nice and succinctly. Thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984 still being released on Christmas Day. My thoughts on most of this is I'm not really looking to judge studios for trying to do what's best for them. They need to have revenue. They make revenue by releasing movies, and they're trying to find the best way to lose the least amount of money on these blockbusters that they can't put them out in theaters by themselves and make the money they need. They can't put them on streaming and make the money they need. And if they just delay them, there's a certain point in time where they're just stacking movies and they lose money that way too. Like, there's people like, oh, just wait a year. Why don't they just wait a year? They don't have the money to wait a year. Well, you have all the 2020 blockbusters being shuffled back to 2021. You had all the movies you were making for 2021, and now they're just stacked on top of each other. And you have this congestion through all of the year. So it's not even that simple. So I don't judge anyone for doing what they're doing. It's weird to me they're dropping it in theaters on Christmas Day and not a week earlier. It's just weird. Like, as for me, I review movies for a living. I absolutely plan to go to the theater unless, like, my county is, having an unbelievable spike. I'm planning on going to the theater to see it. But Christmas Day, even Christmas Eve night, I have family stuff. I am business motivated. I am personally motivated to go and make that happen. But I'm not going to leave my family to do that. And so they're just creating a weird situation. If they put it out 1 week earlier, there's no competition because nothing's coming out. So I don't get why they didn't do that. My anticipation for Cobra Kai Season 3, I'm very excited for it. I watched Season 1 the weekend it dropped. I watched Season 2 the weekend it dropped. Like, I've been following it since the very beginning. So I'm very excited about it and to see where things are going. I'm even anticipating a real trailer. They gave us, like, the teaser thing, but, like, a real trailer for it. Hopefully we'll get that pretty soon because we're only, 6 weeks out from the debut. So I would anticipate a trailer in the next couple of weeks. So, I'm pumped for it. And to cover it at a point in time where people are watching it. When it was on YouTube Premium, no one had the streaming service, so nobody watched it. Now it's going to be an event like Stranger Things, which is pretty cool. And what's your top 5 most anticipated movies of next year? I don't know off the top of my head just because I don't know all the movies coming out because there's so many shuffles and delays. Legitimately, you can just go back and watch my most anticipated for 2020 and at least 5 of those movies are coming out this year. Honestly, and I don't mean that to be flippantly kind of ignore the question. Just go watch my 2020 most anticipated. I think only 3 of those movies came out. So that's 7 of those just transfer over. And I honestly don't really even know what other stuff's on there. Like the Zack Snyder movie, the zombie movie, that would be on there. I guess even Snyder Cut. Like there's probably 2 Zack Snyder movies in my top 10. Read the description down below. The description down below will answer your question. On Gotham, he asked me about the show Gotham, and I literally discuss it in the description. A random person on the internet, do you think Miles Morales is going to join the MCU? Absolutely, yeah. MCU question mark. Will he be in the Spider-Man universe? Because they're connected, but they're also 2 different things. One is Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, and they're doing their own Spumink thing. They're doing their own little universe that is connected to the MCU. Spider-Man's in the MCU. These other characters aren't necessarily. So will we show up in Spumink? I absolutely think so. They want to make Spider-Man movies, and they want to make money, and they think that it's printing money to do that. So I think he will sooner than later. And I even think that the fact that they're doing a Miles Morales game, they're just laying the groundwork to make him super mainstream. Yankee88, do you prefer Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049? 2049. I mean, you can watch my review of 2049. You can watch, I've talked about this many, many, many times, but I'm not a fan of Blade Runner. I can respect things about it, but I've never been into the movie Blade Runner, and I dug 2049. What is your favorite How to Train Your Dragon? I have a ranking of that, and I'm ranking the DreamWorks movies within the next 2 weeks. Favorite comic book run? I don't know if you call it a comic book run, but Batman Year One is my favorite comic book. I love origin stories, and I love Batman, so then those just go together really nicely. I shouldn't have tackled that How to Train Your Dragon when you're spamming me. Yeah. Dude, I've already answered this question. I'm not quite sure why you didn't hear it, but I answered it like right after you asked it. So please watch the video and don't just spam questions, or I will have to knock you out of here. I'm sorry about it. Don't mean to be rude, but oh, here's one. Nolan Talks Movies. Planning on seeing Prince of Egypt? It's on Hulu. So I'm working on this as I keep talking about. Like in my mind, I've been talking about making this DreamWorks ranking for 6 months, and I think that's accurate. I think I started about May is when I very verbally started talking about making this deal, and now we're 2 weeks out from the video coming out because we have a new Croods movie coming out, which is DreamWorks this week. So it's actually happening. So am I planning on seeing Prince of Egypt? I actually watched Prince of Egypt last night. First time I'd ever seen it is Prince of Egypt. So it's interesting to watch through all the DreamWorks movies in one kind of batch of time because they're so different. This is a serious musical based off of the book of Exodus, the story of Moses. And then other ones are literally, like the next one I'm probably going to watch is Boss Baby, where, a baby who is intelligent, farts and sprays powder in someone's face. Like these 2 are from the same franchise. So, I mean, it's certainly on the higher end of the my ranking that's coming out soon. Very well shot, animated. Obviously, some liberties with the source material to make for a coherent story within an hour and 40 minutes. But a nice little film that's done so well. How did you become so handsome? I actually sleep with a plastic bag of lotion over my head. I just sleep with a bag of lotion on my head. Keeps me nice and fresh. That's my secret right there. Chase Ward, did you ever watch the show Merlin? If so, do you like it? I haven't. I'm sorry. I wish I had a better, more satisfying answer. I haven't seen a trailer for it. I don't know. I can't give you anything satisfying. I wish I could give you a better answer since you sent in a super chat, but unfortunately I haven't seen the show and I don't know much of anything about it to say anything interesting. No Stealthy, what is your favorite streaming service? I announced last week I'm working on a streaming service video. It's coming very soon. It's already shot. It should be tomorrow's video, maybe Tuesday's. We'll see what happens. It just takes a long time to edit this particular one. But that's literally a video I've already shot that's coming out is talking about that. And if you really, really, really want to know, I have a version that I did back in January. There's just been a lot of changes in the streaming world since then. Ben Luby, how good do you think Jurassic World 3 could be? Are you excited for it? I'm pretty mixed on my feelings on this one, because I just don't think they wrote themselves, or I feel like they wrote themselves into a corner with the last one. They didn't put themselves in a spot where it lends itself really well to a follow-up. And it seems like they're just taking things in too tricky of a direction, is what it feels like to me. That it's tough to get a vibe for what the movie will be when it's like, dinosaurs are just on the loose. Okay, but how does that fit in with what these movies have been in the past? And I don't think you did a good job with the last one. And there's like they introduced human cloning into the mix and did nothing with that. So there's just a lot of stuff where it's like, I just don't know where you're headed with these things. Andrew Hillary, what do you think of The Boys and Kingsmen? I have reviews of each season of The Boys on my channel. As for Kingsman, I like the first one, not the second one. Andre V, idea for cast for HBO's The Last of Us series. So I've only played about 2 or 3 hours of Last of Us. I own it, and I've started it, but I just haven't had the time to dedicate to play through it. I'll probably take a few days off at the beginning of December. Maybe then I plan on taking a week off in the beginning of January to plan my year out. So, I haven't played it enough to be able to have thoughts. And beyond that, fan castings aren't something you can just like impromptu pull out and say. I spend time researching them, looking into things, looking over lists of names of people that don't have like a big franchise yet. And I do a lot to try and make them kind of interesting and not just pull the obvious choices and want to discuss the obvious choices, but I put a lot into those. Slice, have you seen Swamp Thing? I've seen it one time, the Wes Craven Swamp Thing movie. It was earlier this year. I was hoping to rank all the DC movies this year when Wonder Woman came out, and then they got delayed and delayed again, and so it kind of messed up all my plans to do that. And so I didn't love it. I didn't have big thoughts on it. I didn't hate it. It was kind of like, okay, cool. That was a Wes Craven movie based off of a DC comic. The gaming and movies. Have you seen the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre? It is a stressful movie. I have not. I own it. One of my... I got sent to me in fan mail. And so it's very much on my... Actually, it was going to be my big October ranking this year. And then with the way the world played out, I decided to team up again with the Autop stream for another 31 on 31, so I could team up with other people, get a couple other extra rankings out of it. So that's what I ended up doing instead of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so I own the first one. I have not seen it yet. And it was actually shot around where I live. So I've been to multiple filming locations from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just haven't seen the movie that those filming locations are from, unfortunately. But I've shot little videos of myself in front of the cemetery, and where the house is shot is right by a big shopping center around here. Or now is a shopping center. It wasn't then, but so there's a lot of development in the area of around where I live. All right, we had a super chat that I missed. Oh no, maybe I didn't. Oh, I did from a while ago. I did. That's why I didn't catch it. Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay, Andre asked the second question. That's what threw me off. Majestic Demon asks, hello, Mr. Chandler. How are you? I am good. How's your career as a football player going? If you don't know what he's referring to, there's a NFL player named Sean Chandler. Same exact spelling, Sean Chandler. And he recently traded to the Panthers. So I knew about him since he was in college, because I just Googled my name. I was like, hey, look, there's a football player. Then he made it to the NFL, and now he's getting traded around. So it's just it's the joke I actually use whenever I close out a guest appearance on someone else's channel. Andre asks, who is your favorite Marvel character? Mine is the Punisher. Favorite Marvel character from Andre. Favorite? It's tough to say because there's the comics and then there's the movies. And Like in the movies, I think it's pretty like Iron Man has a great character arc, and he's played so well. Um, there's a lot that I like about the Punisher character because I love action movies. In the comics, Peter Parker, really great character. So I got a few different answers to that one. Sean Abbott, what is your wife's favorite movie? Jaws. Jaws is her favorite movie. And I hadn't seen it when we got married. Like, even though I love Spielberg, I just missed Jaws. And so I've seen it 1,000 times since we've been married. And this might not happen, it might happen. But in theory, she's supposed to give me a list of her 10 favorite movies. And I'm going to rank those for our anniversary next month. My birthday is November 28th. So if you want to send me a birthday present, you can send it to my P.O. Box in most of my videos. That's this week, so better get it in the mail today. November 20th is my birthday. December 23rd is our anniversary. So if you want to send her Jaws memorabilia for our anniversary, that's December 23rd is her. And I'm thinking about ranking her favorite movies. So you'll find out her top 10 list in theory, very soon. When do you think The Simpsons will end? I don't think it will. I think we'll have a nuclear holocaust, and all that will be left will cockroaches, and somehow The Simpsons will still be produced. Joshua Cohen, who do you like more, Picard or Kirk? Both are great, and I think they work really well as opposite sides to things. Where you have Kirk is he is a good captain. Like, he's presented some, especially in the new movies, as just this rogue. He's not actually as much of that as people present him as. He's a good captain, but he is the guy that gets in on the action, more kind of classic alpha male style, rough and tumble, likes the ladies. And then you have Picard, who's the diplomat. And so I think they work well as a pair. I think Kirk has been given a few more better arcs, specifically because of the movies. In the show, Picard gets the better arcs. In the movies, I think they just did some really cool stuff with Kirk. Kogan Spory. Are there any areas of film you'd like to explore more? Genres, time periods, specific directors, foreign? Not British period piece movies. That's not my thing at all. Excuse me. It's tough to say because I watch so many movies. So it's not like I feel like I have a shortage of anything. Like this year, I think I'm going to pass 500, watching 500 movies. That's averaging over one movie per day for an entire year. That's a lot of movies, and you just experience a lot of different stuff. And with new stuff, I watch a lot of it. Whether it's stuff I'm specifically interested in, stuff I think that my audience is interested in, stuff I'm just invited to. Like a couple days ago, I went to go see Vanguard. If you want to support my channel, watch my Vanguard review, just to help it get a little bit more traction. Watch it for 3 minutes or something like that, and then you can click away. But it's not doing very well. But like, I went to go see that one just because I got invited to by the studio. It's Jackie Chan, and it's a Chinese movie and bad subtitles and everything like that. So I just watch a lot of stuff. So it's tough for me to think what have I feel underserved. Like, I always enjoy when a new time travel movie comes out. But it's not like I could say that there's not enough of those or those are underserved. And it's not that I couldn't find more. Like, as a film critic person, I wish I did a better job of at least dabbling in more foreign markets and just seeing them to see how different people make movies, different cultures tell stories. So I think that's maybe what I would say. I think that's where I could probably grow the most, is from experiencing more foreign film. Hollywood tells stories a specific way, and it's not the way it is in other cultures. And I think there's value in seeing other ways of storytelling. Sam Sherman, favorite DC character? Batman and Superman. They're two archetypes that function differently. And one is the man that uses all of his abilities to try and stop others from feeling the pain that he felt in his childhood. The other is a god among men that chooses to do good with all of that. Andre V, DC. Mine's probably the Joker. Love South Park. So I think you're asking maybe that same version of that same question. But yeah, Batman and Superman, whether comics or movies, I think with Marvel, I think that the MCU has managed to take side characters and make them a lot more interesting. and they're able to take B and C level characters and make them A-listers. Iron Man being an example of that. But with DC, I don't think they've had that as much success doing that yet. So I think it's still Batman and Superman are the archetypes, the most interesting ones. Talks with Tad. Do you have any unpopular opinions on film which you really stand for? I mean, I have some videos on unpopular opinions, hot takes. I've done some like top 10 stuff like that. Those contain my thoughts. I don't tend to be like a belligerent person, so I'm not one that would mash on toes to make a point or something like that. All right, I got about 10 more minutes that I'm on here. 10 more minutes, and then I got to take off. So if you really want me to answer your question, send it into the super chat, and I'll do my best to answer the ones that I can. Dragon Legend, hey Sean, what's your favorite movie of all time? I have a top 20 from this year, my top 20 favorite movies. Go check that out. Majestic Demon, will you be going out on Black Friday? Thank you for the super chat. I doubt it. I don't know that what'll be open, and I don't know that I want to go through the hassle of whatever precautions are in place. It just sounds like a nightmare to try and do that. Which would you like to see most, Game of Thrones movie or Lord of the Rings TV show? I haven't watched Game of Thrones, and so I can't say that I want a movie out of it, and I don't think that that would serve it well, since what it was good at was very long-form, in-depth storytelling, and a movie's not that by its nature. And we have a Lord of the Rings TV show coming out, so... Pranshu V. Ready, Mandalorian or Daredevil? Well, we've only got... we had over 30 episodes of Daredevil, almost 40 episodes of Daredevil, and we've got about 10 episodes of Mandalorian, so I don't think we have enough information to know. Daredevil, I think, had a little bit more depth to it and the way it did some stuff. And Mandalorian's in Star Wars, so I couldn't really say with what we have right now. I don't think Mandalorian is matured enough, been around long enough for me to say. From Larzy, say something you like about Jaws the Revenge. Michael Caine is in it, Alfred from the Dark Knight trilogy, and he's just fun. He's a lot of fun to watch. So that's something. It has so bad it's good moments. Citrus546, have you seen the 1990s Captain America film? So I have a ranking where I ranked every Marvel movie. That's one of them, so it's in there. So I have, literally, I've got. I have a video where you can see every Marvel theatrically released Marvel movie, but I had the 1990 movie on a VHS tape growing up, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I'm fully aware of its faults, its many faults, I actually enjoyed it a good bit, even though I know it's bad. Have you seen Gotham? Read the description. Question is answered. What's your thoughts on Shawshank Redemption? I've talked about it 2 times in videos in the last couple of months. Probably the best one would be my IMDb top 15 ranked. It's in there. Just go watch that one for my thoughts on it. All right, I'm going to start just timing out people if you're spamming questions, because I'm trying to find nice ones, and you're making it tricky at times. Sorry. Spending some time blocking people. Austin Wagner with the super chat. Thank you so much. Edge of Tomorrow vs. Minority Report. Big fan. Thank you so much. Edge of Tomorrow. I've actually never been a big Minority Report person. No, I don't dislike it. It's not anger or anything like that. I've just never liked it as much as a lot of other people. And Edge of Tomorrow, I did like as much as other people. Hey, Ned, a super chat. Thank you so much, but you didn't have a question, so I can't answer it. So I'll try and be on the lookout to see if I could catch your name to see if you have a question. But I'm afraid I can't answer your question since it is not there. Smith, do you recommend watching the Clone Wars animated series? It's tough to say because it's a show for younger audiences. It's not designed to be a grown-up show. And so if you start trying to watch it when you're 30, 40 years old, it's very kiddie, especially at the beginning. And as you get it past the first 2 seasons and start getting to season 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they start having some meatier storylines in there. And they have some really cool stuff that fleshes out the mythology in a really good way. So that's where it's tough because to get to the meteor stuff, you have to go through several seasons. And if you're an adult, it's not the easiest thing to do. People that kind of grew up on the Clone Wars, they see it the way that most of us see things from our childhood, which is through a slightly different lens, and there's some nostalgia that factors into it. And then they grow up to be adults. And so if you were, 12 when Clone Wars first came out, you're now in your mid-20s, and you're like, what do you mean? I'm a grown-up, and I really enjoy this. I was in my late 20s when it debuted. And so I see a lot of the kiddier aspects to it. And so it takes me a little bit to get into it, given all of that. Dun, 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 dun. Question. Nikki, do you think Baby Yoda is being utilized good in Mandalorian Season 2? Well, inherently he's kind of tough to utilize because he's just a child that has force powers, can't communicate very well, so he's just kind of there. I don't think they've necessarily had a big thing for him to do, but they didn't have a big thing for him to do in the second half, like in the first season either. He's just kind of there, and that the guy that needs to be babysat. Okay. So I feel he's being as good or bad as he was before. Okay, missed a couple super chats in here. Sorry about that. Jack Stedman, what's your favorite Kubrick movie? Mine is The Shining. For me, I would probably go with Doctor Strangelove. I'm not a big Kubrick fan, so they're not ones that I go back and rewatch a lot. So unfortunately, I can't give you a more satisfying answer. I'm sorry about that, but Doctor Strangelove is the one that I think I normally say. One of these days, I'll watch through all of them and give a ranking and everything, but Doctor Strangelove at the moment. Old Bascool, what game have you spent the most hours playing? Probably Warcraft 2. Probably Warcraft 2 back in the 90s. I played that one a lot, and was really good at it. And so that one comes to mind. I also played a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original one, back when it came out in its original run. I tore through that game. Andre V had a super chat saying, have you watched 11/23/633? Such a good series. So this is based off Stephen King. And I think isn't the 22nd 11/22/63, I believe. I think the dates on that one is not right. But yes, we watched it when it first came out on Hulu and enjoyed it a good bit. That is interesting just because it was kind of tied to JFK and had time travel elements, and there's just a clever twist to the way that this particular time travel rules worked. And Stephen King's obviously very good with his concepts and ideas, and so I don't think it fully, by the end of it, paid off as much as the journey. I enjoyed the journey more than the payoff. That's the way to phrase that. And yeah. Do you defend Zack Snyder's vision of the DCEU? So, I mean, I've made 1,000 videos on the DCEU in these movies. And so I think if you watch any of them, pretty clearly I'm a fan of Zack Snyder and I enjoy his movies. I think Man of Steel is the best movie in the DCEU. So I think based just on that, you would have to say that I would defend his vision for the DCEU. I think there's some issues and problems, and I think some of that's studio interference. But I liked a very large portion of what he did with it, so absolutely. Hayden, are you excited for a Diary of a Wimpy Kid show? No, not at all. And I know it's. I wish I could be more positive with the super chat, but like, I'm of the age to where I almost have kids that are the target audience for Diary of a Wimpy Kid. By the time a Diary of a Wimpy Kid TV show would come out, my son would be the target age for it. I'm a whole generation removed. It's targeting like fifth grade, sixth grade boys, and it's not a show movie that like works outside of that. It's for a specific age range. So like I watched the first movie and I had all these people telling me how amazing it was, and I watched and I was like, I am way too old to enjoy this. I mean, I was 17 years too old for the first movie when it came out. Now I'm 27 years too old for it, and so the idea of a TV show has like absolutely no interest to me because I am just not the target age. It is not for me. And that's fine. That's fine that it's not for me, but that's just the reality is that I'm much too old to connect with its sense of humor and everything. Sam, will you do a Pixar shorts ranked video? Absolutely, I plan to. I mean, I actually watched through most of the shorts back in March. I was going to do the video, and then the beer bug hit. I was working on that video after Onward came out, and then basically the whole world kind of obviously had a big shift back in mid-March. Right as I have the notes and everything. You know, 3/4 of the movies ranked, or shorts ranked, and then I basically took a week off, revamped, came up with a new plan for the year, and by then it wasn't the best thing to be thinking about at that moment. But it was very much on my mind. Shadow Ruins, favorite Van Damme movie. There's a chance I have a top 5 Van Damme video on my channel. So I believe I have a top 5 Van Damme video on my channel. But Bloodsport, Hard Target are the two that would immediately come to mind. And Time Cop. Those three are easily kind of high-level Van Damme for me. I believe I have a top 5 video. It's 4 years old, so it's old, but I believe it exists. Lisa with a super chat. Thank you so much. How would you feel about a God of War movie? I haven't played the games, and so I honestly I can't have a strong opinion on the matter. I don't know the story, the nature of it, to know how well it translates. But anytime certain games are designed with a very cinematic story. Like Spider-Man PlayStation 4 has a very cinematic story to it. And other ones are very much just kind of a level. It's a setup to go to the next level where you run in a circle. Like Sonic the Hedgehog is not really an obvious, easy story to translate to the movie, so they had to come up with their own deal when they did that. So I don't know about God of War. So unfortunately, I wish I had a more satisfying answer for you, but I don't. Would you rank an actor's best movies? I have one of those for Stallone. I planned on doing more of those. I usually use their. I don't want to do a top 10 for an actor, and having not seen all their movies, and it's tricky to do that. So I did it based off his highest grossing movies. So I plan to do more of those. Yes. You should do a top 10 PlayStation 4 exclusive list. I haven't played enough of the games to be able to do that with any integrity. Austin Wagner with Super Chat. Thank you so much. If you had to bring a sci-fi weapon in reality and use it to defend yourself, what would it be? I'd love a sonic boom shotgun from Minority Report. It's tough to know because I'd have to know what the threat is. Lightsaber has a very cool advantage of you don't run out of ammo. Anything that runs out of ammo is very dangerous in a survival situation. So off the top of my head, a lightsaber sounds like that could be very good as a melee weapon that will not run out of ammo for me. So that's what comes to mind off the top of my head. But it's also tough to say when you're not, when you're just kind of spitballing. Movies with Max. Favorite Scorsese movie? Probably Taxi Driver. That's the one I normally say. I've never connected with him as much as a lot of other people have. His movies. I like some of the other classic directors more than him. Jason Caporal, are you excited about Ahsoka in The Mandalorian? Yeah, of course. I mean, you can check out my reviews, and I have a section at the end of them where I talk about my thoughts and excitement for the upcoming potential storylines. I answered this earlier. What's your favorite graphic novel? Batman Year One. Are you excited to see Alan Grant in the next Jurassic World film? Absolutely. Love Alan Grant. I think he's a great character. So the fact that he's coming back is very cool to me. What are your opinion on Red Dead Redemption 2? I've never played it. It's on sale right now. I think it's still right now. So they're doing like a Black Friday sale in the store. So I'll probably buy it and then play it sometime in the next 2 months. Will you do more Bollywood reviews? Yes. Favorite Mission Impossible favorite Mission Impossible movie, I have a ranking of that. Favorite James Bond movie, Casino Royale, and I will have a ranking of that. Favorite Taco Bell movie, I have a ranking of that. Guys, always, whenever you kind of ask a question, I've done like 1,500 videos. So I've done a video about almost everything. So always keep in mind that you'll get a better answer from a video where I watched it recently, put my thoughts together, and I'm normally with these wanting to cover new things, so I'm not going to like pause to answer like what's my favorite Taco Bell movie when I have a video about that. Like I literally have a video all about that. So be sure to, if I didn't answer a question that's on, hey, what's your thought on this movie? Search for it and search for a place where it could be. So they're very frequently out there. I'm trying to find if I have a good final. Are you going to do it like right here? Are you going to do a Rambo ranking movies video? I have two. Kind of three, because I did it in a 31 on 31. So like, search for it, save it, search for it. Like, I have done these things. Like, I have done them. I have a lot of videos, so search for them before you ask the question, because otherwise I'll skip it. Joseph HR, least favorite movie, that is Alien 3. I've talked about that a lot, but Alien 3, I really don't like Alien 3. Where is the streaming services ranking? It is on my SD card. It's filmed, but it's coming. It just takes a while to edit, and it got delayed a little bit because of the Wonder Woman news did have an effect on things. So it threw a little wrench in there. Okay. Oh, did we just... Final questions. Okay, we had one more super chat come in, and we'll probably close out on this one. Have you watched the movies The Raid 1 and 2 and The Night Comes For Us? What are your thoughts? I wish Hollywood makes films like that. So I've seen the first Raid many times, and phenomenal action, great simple premise, done really well. I've watched like half of the Raid 2. The way the universe, like, I rented it, watched half of it, and wasn't able to get it finished in time or whatever. So that's what happened with that one, and I have not seen The Night Comes For Us, unfortunately. So I for whatever reason, foreign market seemed to do a much better job with really reinventing the martial arts genre. And yeah, had another super chat come in. The Dark Knight 1014. What's your favorite Firefly episode? We haven't heard you talk about it at all. I mean, I've talked about Firefly. I've mentioned it multiple times, especially in my Mandalorian videos. I couldn't tell you a favorite episode off the top of my head. Whenever I do videos like that, I rewatch, get new information, and that's where the video comes from. I don't just kind of spitball off the top of my head. So I don't actually know. I couldn't tell you. Like, I always remember Janetown, but Janetown isn't one that I would think of as my favorite episode. It's a great show that does a nice job of having a mythology to it that's being built out with standalone episodes. But if you guys like The Mandalorian, you should check out Firefly. If you like The Avengers, you should check out Firefly. It's from Joss Whedon. It's a space western, Nathan Fillion, really cool stuff. Highly recommend you check it out. But I off the top of my head, I really can't come up with favorites, because there's just, you have to think through them and calculate a bunch of different things. Awesome Dude 900 with the super chat. Favorite MCU and DCU villain? So I have rankings on my favorite MCU and DCU villains. So you can have my full thoughts on my in-depth thoughts, but I think Thanos is the best villain of the MCU, where they just gave him a very solid backstory, motivation, terrifying, and while he's a monster, you almost feel bad for him in his villainous behaviors. DCU doesn't necessarily have nearly as clean of a best. I don't even remember what I said in my video, but I have a video where I've ranked the villains, and I'll update it again. I don't actually know when it was. It was going to be after Wonder Woman. Once again, that got delayed, so that didn't happen. But I have a video with my detailed thoughts on that one, so you can find that elsewhere. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and I greatly appreciate it. Some of you guys asked me about Rick and Morty. I've never seen it. What are our thoughts on Last Airbender? I've only seen about 6 episodes. I am trying to watch through it with my son. It's not fully working. What do I think about the TV show Lost? Seasons 1 and 2 are phenomenal, and then it just kind of petered out. They didn't know where to take their mythology. Am I anticipating the Snyder Cut? Of course I am. Of course I am. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the comments, the questions, the super chats, all of it. And keep talking movies too much, and hopefully I'll be doing more of these in the near future.